Hey everybody, and welcome back. So I wasn't planning to review this figure yet or share the formula because it's not quite done. The decals haven't arrived to put it on there, but some people are very eager to know what the formula is. So without further ado, it's Ultimate Funaki. And again, the decals are not here yet. So if you're a great painter, you can just paint them on, but I'm using decals. They haven't arrived yet. But the formula is not too difficult. The formula for, and of course, unfortunately, this Ric Flair torso that I used wasn't the easiest to get off. So, unfortunately, a little bit of a side there, but that's common in custom figures. Luckily, sometimes you get really lucky and they look really flush, like that's really flush, but sometimes if the figure is being difficult, no matter how much hot water you use, no matter how sharp your X-Acto knife may be, it's going to have a little bit of a divot because you have to kind of pry into it. So, it's unfortunate, but again, you're not going to notice it from afar. So, but I digress. So I use the Jack's Head Funaki. You could use the single release Ruthless Aggression one that has more of a bleach or a highlighted blonde in it, which I'm thinking about maybe doing that. Not adding it myself, just getting the other one, or just keeping it this way. Obviously, I went for the more later Funaki, former cruiserweight champion look with the white tights more. You could do blue with white stripes. The decals I got were the blue ones. The knee pads came with the Piper, the Ultimate Piper, possibly, I think they come with the standard Elite Piper as well, and some Pipers. The boots, I had to go with the calves of Chad Gable from the American Alpha set. It comes, of course, with the black socks and whatnot, and you could acetone that off. I decided to leave it. I don't think. Sometimes he did have some socks showing through. Sometimes he didn't. Nice thing is Funaki never got tattoos, so no tattoo work needed during this era. He may have since then. I don't know. The head works really well. I use Ric Flair's skin torso because the Funaki is not, it's Jack's painting scale, which is a little bit different. You can see though it really blends pretty well from a distance with the Ric Flair. It would not work with Terry or Austin. It'd stand out too much. So went with closed fists. Obviously, this is factory painted white. Missed spot right there. I could probably switch out that arm. I've seen countless arms. I'm probably going to switch hands. The arms, I do believe, are Ric Flair. No, they're not Ric Flair. They're I have this whole thing of arms and body parts over there and whatnot. So the arms, they are tan. They're white. I think they are. They're not Stunning Steve. Who did I use? So I do apologize on the arms. I don't quite remember who it is. I know it's a tan arm. It's not Steve Austin. He comes with black wrist tape. It's not AJ. But it is a standard tan arm. I'd have to go look at all the elites that are options out there. I can tell you it's not Sami Zayn or like that. It's got to be a tan person. They work really well to line up with the Ric Flair because Ric Flair doesn't have tan. So if you wanted to, you could use Ric Flair, the arms on here, and then just paint white wrist tape. I'm still actually going to mod this. I'm going to take these arms off and carefully paint a blue stripe, just a single stripe through this, because he wrestled with two-tone. He had white, blue, and then white. Kind of like how the Johnny Nitro look whatnot. I was going to originally do that to the arms, and I realized they're blue, not black, so I'm going to have to just get out a paint pen and some Mod Podge after I've let it dry and seal it. The decals, of course, is going to have the two stripes down the sides. You're going to have Smackdown #1 announcer on the back. And then Funaki will be complete. I could even go as far as to paint carefully a square box inside the knee pads, or the back of the knee pads, because he did have a two-tone knee pad at times as well. But for the most part, like I said, it's just a work in progress. I wasn't planning to show it till it was complete, but there is the formula. Now, the crotch piece actually is from the Legends Edge. I forgot to mention that. I acetoned off the gold, because the Chase is red, the regular is white and gold, which at one time that was a huge want for me, but Edge has changed its gears since then, and I already have an Ultimate Edge anyway. So taking those legs off carefully, and then whose calves did I put on? I think it was just Flair's. yeah, I remember I think I did a swap, and it was Ric Flair's. Originally, he was gonna have just white boots that were longer and bigger. And then when I looked at pictures, I was like, he had short kick pads with blue. The blue is not the perfect color. I'm not gonna go over that. I'm just gonna leave it as is because that's just too fine of detail to really worry about. I might go over with a paint pen and kind of touch up a little bit on the scrapes that are on there. But really, the figure is pretty clean. Other than that, I probably will still do a little bit of white paint over little areas to try to get a little bit cleaner before I apply the decals. But I mean, really, that's a great looking Funaki figure. I mean, you obviously can go with other options. You could go with a printed head, I'm sure, from some customizer out there. Speaking of which, spoiler alert, I went and got some Tom Veg custom heads. If you know who that is, look him up. He's got over 600 options. I got myself an Akita Koloff serious scan. The only other one I saw was like a laughing or open mouth looking weird one. I wanted him to really be focused on like seriousness. And I snagged a Brian Christopher because obviously if you've seen my Too Cool, if I've posted that yet or not, the Brian Christopher head is just so massive from the Jax figure that you have to use a t-shirt to really kind of hide it. But with this new scan and getting it painted properly and whatnot to match the skin tone, I should have no problem removing the shirt from him if need be. And the last one I got was Taka Michinoku, which was Funaki's tag team partner in the early 2000s. By 2001 or 2, he would leave, and Funaki would just kind of go on a solo Velocity mainstay run. But I got a good formula for him already. I've already figured out the parts for him. A little expensive because I had to find some parts that worked really well. So hopefully it works. It's going to involve some painting. It's going to involve some cover-up. And then, of course, I'm going to send the head off to be professionally painted to match the skin tone. And I'm probably going to use AJ Styles' torso because that's the smallest one you can really get in the Ultimate line. Ric Flair is the second close, I would think. And, of course, Austin. What's cool, though, is if you watch the videos, they've got Eddie Guerrero coming out. And from the looks of it, it's just a painted, shaded differently skin tone of Stone Cold Steve Austin. So my hope is when I find that figure, I can turn that into a Chavo, and I can turn that into a Del Rio, I can maybe do an Angel Garza, because that is a very thin-looking body compared to all the other Ultimates. That's like the thinnest we're probably going to get, except for the Rey Mysterio. But that's on newer hip joints, and it doesn't work well with the figures from what I've been told. So hopefully I can just find some Eddies. It's going to be expensive, I'm sure, because I'm not going to find them at Walmart. I don't have any Walmarts in my town, thanks to all the theft. So there's no more Walmarts left, so I'm not going to find those. So I have to go off of eBay. I have to go off of third-party sellers. So it's a progress, but Del Rio will look, if it works well, I'll get one. I'll see what skin tones match with it. If it matches with Angel, if it matches with Del Rio, if it matches with Chavo, great. Then I got to find 2 more, and so on and so forth. I'm keeping Eddie Jack because Eddie was jacked during that time frame, the era figure I have. But I digress. You want Funaki, you need a Ric Flair torso, Ric Flair leg, calves, Chad Gable boot, just not even the boot, just go from the, switch from the lower legs, like calves and knees, just go with the whole setup down here. Knee pads from Piper, or I'm sure you can find someone with blue knee pads. Arms from Piper, or not Piper, arms, I do digress, I don't quite remember who I got the arms from. I got from the big bag of parts after I started cutting people apart and cracking torsos. I just had a bunch of body parts lying around, so I threw them all into like bags, and I've sorted them since then. It makes it easier to find stuff, but I can't for the life of me remember what arms I used. Obviously no tattoo guys, so I'll have to just look back and look at what I can think of, because I have multiples of this, so I've obviously used these arms countless times, but I can't for the life of me think of who it is. Switch out I got the double jointed arms, by the way, because I decided I wanted to have closed fists for Funaki. The smallest hands are the closed fists. They look proportionate to his body size. And then the Jack's head is Funaki. So you can go with the exclusive Rising Sun or 3-pack with Akio and Dakota, or you can get the single version where he had the streaks of blonde in his hair. Till next time.